My name is Adam Mills. I'm the Sales and Marketing Director, as well as co-founder of Four Winds Brewing. We're a family-owned and operated craft brewery that opened up in June of 2013 in Delta, BC. We started the company as a group of four. It was myself, my two brothers, and our dad. We currently employ 42 people. Since opening, we've undergone 6 capacity expansions, which has allowed us to keep up to a growing and ongoing demand, and we now distribute throughout BC and in select areas of Alberta and Saskatchewan. In contrast to the abundance of exceptional marketing experts we have here at this conference, I came upon the opportunity to get into marketing and to open a craft brewery by way of chance. I just happened to have a brother who became obsessed with brewing and a father who couldn't handle being retired. So to brew great beer, you need to have the theory. But you also need to have the confidence. You need to have the patience. You should strive for balance, but most importantly, you need to have the right ingredients. I believe Four Winds is what it is because we had and continue to have the right ingredients. So my brother Brent is the brewmaster. Our father Greg is the president and does the books, and it has been my job to present Four Winds to the public. When it was time to start working on the branding, I had one man in mind to help, and that was a longtime friend of mine and renowned local artist, Andy Dixon. We spent many hours discussing the vision for the brand, the general direction, but one of the first questions we asked ourselves was, if Four Winds was a color, what color would it be? Well, it turned out it was unanimously blue. It was a deep oceanic blue. From there, we started talking about fonts and stylistic composition. How does Four Winds feel? Is it old world? Is it modern? Is it masculine? Is it feminine? Is it minimal? Is it complex? And the list goes on. And as it should. You should ask yourself as many questions as you can possibly muster when developing a brand. It was through that process and through what I like to think of as kind of an emotional intuitiveness that we were able to answer these questions with honesty and certainty. And as a result, I believe we landed on a brand that was at once the sum of the answers to those questions as well as the timeless, relatable aesthetic we hoped it would be. So we now had an identity. We also had a handful of beers that we were very proud of. And this first set of offerings became our standard series. These are our flagship beers. They're great examples of these styles, and they're available year-round. From there, we needed a home for all of the interesting and innovative beers that my brother Brent and our head brewer Kylo were coming up with, and so I decided that we would catalog and categorize these beers into multiple series based on their commonalities and differences. And because we are the Four Winds, we decided that the idea of utilizing the 4 main directions of wind for the names of these series would be a natural fit. Now, wind plays a big role in Greek mythology, and we always found that interesting, and so we decided to incorporate the Greek gods of wind into our story, and they became the names of these series. So first came Eurus. Eurus is the Greek god of the east winds, and so fittingly, all old world European-inspired, often barrel-aged beers will find a home here, while Zephyrus, the Greek god of the west winds, would be the great spot to put our more modern West Coast and hop-heavy brews. In terms of the packaging format and visuals, for Eurus, we wanted to evoke more of a classic old world feel with the champagne-style bottle, with the cork and cage, the kind of French-influenced ornate die cut, the gold foil. And with the Zephyrus series, that was sort of designed to juxtapose that with a modern bottle, with the bright and coarse color palette, with the modern typography, and the patterns that we designed out of yachting flags. So here's a few examples of product release shots and sort of Instagram or social media style images for the Eurus series. And here's a few examples for the Zephyrus series. The newest addition to these series was Notus. Notus, being the Greek god of the south winds, was the ideal place to put our lighter, more sessionable, easy drinking, kind of south of 5%. Visually here, we aimed for more of a minimal approach. We wanted to use intriguing geometric shapes with bright, bold colors. We wanted our logo to be front and center and kind of remove any text from the front, put that on the back, in an effort to kind of entice you to pick it up off the shelf and have a closer look at it. And it's worked out really well for us. This series was designed by our in-house graphic designer, Justin Longos, who's actually here with us today. Here's a few examples of, again, some social media style images or press release things for the Notice series. So that leaves Boreas, the Greek god of the north winds. This series isn't realized yet. We haven't come up with anything, but it'll most likely include things like Russian imperial stouts or Baltic porters, other high alcohol beers that are sort of Northern European inspired. So once you've created the framework, you then have an entirely different set of challenges. How do you cut through the information overload online? It seems to me that with the advancement of technology, the repercussions of overstimulation are becoming more and more apparent. People gloss over advertisements online. People are leaving social media networks. Algorithms are changing. So how do we navigate this new era of social media successfully? Well, it's a question we're asking ourselves constantly. It's not something I claim to be an expert on, but I believe generally people are looking for relatability. So we're working on ways to connect to the consumer through honesty, through realness and transparency. But for us, it comes down to relatability. I like to draw parallels between most creative avenues, whether it's, music production or brewing or graphic design or painting and drawing or dancing, singing, whatever it is. In my opinion, all of these forms of expression are executed at the highest level when incorporating the same principles. And to me, these principles are action, discipline, balance, intensity, nuance, but above all, vision. Well, what does vision mean to you? To me, vision is the ability to reflect deeply on the past, to be able to revel in the moment, and to be able to project into the future. Of course, we're all different and have varying degrees of ability when it comes to visualization, but I would argue that to be successful and to be pioneering in a constantly changing and very competitive and progressive landscape, you will need to have your visionary compass pointed to the future while having one foot in the present and one in the past. You need to know where you've been and know where you are to know where you're going. Well, this idea would make me simultaneously a historian and a futurist because, admittedly, I don't spend enough time in the present moment. But, after all, in essence, it is my job to dream, and it is our job to dream as marketers. It's my job to lead and to direct. And so someone has to do the long-term strategic planning, and somebody has to be the dreamer. You hear it time and time again that the present moment is where all substance is and is where true value is. And although that notion is entirely true, I buy into it. It's of real importance. But remember, dreams are not founded in presence. Memories are not founded in presence. And so while we try our best to remain present, don't forget to remember and don't forget to dream. Thank you very much for your time.